Chapter 1. Painful Loss. The woman in the picture had rather exquisite facial features. Her fair and smooth skin was delicate like porcelain, especially against the pure white work uniform. In the picture, she was kneeling on the ground with a rag in her hands, doing her job as a hotel cleaner, carefully and meticulously. Though her job was the dirtiest and hardest kind in every city, she still displayed a calm and steady temperament, like wild grass growing on a cliff. If anyone had known what this woman in the picture had gone through, they would be spontaneously admiring her outstanding wisdom and unyielding tenacity. But for the rich lady holding the picture, she hated her the most. Jian, you want to stay alive and have a good life. Oh, but that is up to me. Dressed elegantly, the young and rich lady tightly pursed her tender lips that were coated with bright red lipstick. As she stared at the picture, rays shot out from her eyes like a beam of cold light on snake fangs, chilly and vicious. Jian, you don't deserve to live, said the rich lady grumpily, her tone laced with intense murderousness. She would not spare anyone, not even her cousin, who had known all her secrets. The lives of the poor are worthless. Those who don't deserve to live should vanish obediently. Through usurping everything that belonged to Jian, she had married into the rich and risen to the upper class. Naturally, she could toy with Jian, her cousin who had been aware of her secrets. But she couldn't get rid of Jian at once, for it would be hard to explain to her husband's family, who knew that she had an indecent cousin. You failed in the probation period, and the hotel has decided not to hire you. Pack your things in 3 days and get out. The 28-year-old Jian was fired again, 2 months after working here. Just like in the picture, she had a peaceful and tenacious temperament. Standing upright in front of the lobby manager, she didn't bow after hearing these words, neither did she panic from losing her job. Having gotten used to holding a job for 2 months at most, she had become unemotional and much tougher. As her obsidian dark eyes looked peacefully at the lobby manager, Jian spoke plainly, "When will I get my salary? We are a listed company. You will surely get your 2,000 yuan salary." Looking at this pretty face that would get men's pulses racing, Manager Lu was tickled by his desire. 10 minutes ago, he was lambasted by the HR manager, for it was he who had hired this woman who had displeased a big name. Eyes staring at Jian, he pulled open the drawer to his desk, from which he took out an envelope and threw it down. The envelope that contained Jian's salary was discarded on the ground. She couldn't help but clench her hands while slightly frowning. Just then, the cell phone on the desk rang. Manager Lu, who was in a bad mood, answered the call. Damn it, he must turn off his cell phone later. Manager Lu, I know you are a man who has tender affection for beautiful women. So, you should know what to do with Jian, who seduced her teacher at 14 years old. Rest assured, you won't get caught, just don't get her killed. A gentle voice came from the cell phone. From hearing this voice, Manager Lu could tell that it was from a beauty. Tame her well. If I am pleased, I can give an order to make you the deputy general manager of the hotel. Fu King bitch. Having hooked up with men in her teens, she was still pretending to be an innocent lady in front of him. After hanging up the phone, Manager Lu became hornier and more brazen. How Fu King lucky for him to receive this phone call. He was planning to rape her anyway, for he had instructed someone to drug Jian. If he did well, he would be backed by the wife of that high-ranking official. Jian was bending over to pick up the envelope that contained her salary. Before her fingers could touch the envelope, she raised her head abruptly, as if she sensing something. Danger. She's in danger. She needed to leave immediately. It was because of her instinct to react quickly to imminent dangers and steer away from them that she could live safely until now. Perhaps this was the only grace bestowed to her from the sufferings in her life. At this moment, without warning, her body wobbled. Before the alarmed Jian could stand up, a stream of unexplainable torrents ran violently through her limbs. As her stomach burned like there was a ball of fire in it, she collapsed by the desk. Fu It. You are a whore who hooked up with your teacher at the age of 14, so stop pretending to be innocent. Someone has instructed me to take care of you. You have nowhere to run this time. The drugged Jian was pressed onto the desk. Without struggling fiercely, she clenched her collar tightly with one hand while fumbling on the desk with the other. She had seen clearly what was on the desk after entering the office. With only one glance, she could remember how the items were displayed and which of those could be used as her defense weapons. For example, in the black leather pen holder, there were 2 pencils and 3 fountain pens, one of which was not hatted with a cap. 2 ballpoint pens. Oh, and a pair of scissors for office use. 2 buttons on her shirt were ripped off, while those filthy hands were grabbing her collar. Her pearl-white teeth were biting her lower lip tightly. Even when she was bleeding, she did not loosen her bite. For the pain could make her sober up without surrendering to the effects of the drug. Jian was a woman who could be resolutely merciless when it comes to defying death. At the age of 14, she was framed, under the allegation that she had seduced her math teacher. After all these years, No matter how her cousin, who had married into the rich and powerful, tried to bring her down, she had survived. But today, she must fight for her life. Yi Jian did not waste her strength in struggling. As her hand touched the hatless fountain pen, she exerted her strength and stabbed it hard into the man's arm. As the sharp pen tip stabbed into his arm, the horny manager Lu was caught off guard. Screaming, he loosened his grip. Without any emotions in her eyes or looking at the monster whose arm was bleeding, the disheveled Yi Jian picked up her salary-contained envelope and was about to leave with her limping and feeble legs. Within 2 steps, her hair was grabbed fiercely. Damn it! How dare you hurt me? As a man, even injured, Manager Lu still got the upper hand against a drugged woman. Bang! Yi Jian's head was bumped against the desk, and warm fluids flew out right away. Mercilessly, Manager Lu struck Yi Jian's head against the desk over and over again, and yelled violently, "You shameless whore! You are dead today." Yi Jian was aware that she was bleeding a lot, as if her skull was about to break. Her hands were clambering over the desk. She needed to get the scissors in the pen holder. The landline phone was swept onto the ground. As she reached forward a bit more, she knocked down the pen holder. Holding the scissors, Yi Jian exerted her last bit of strength and, fiercely and precisely, she stabbed it into Manager Lu's chest. The sharp scissors were pierced exactly into his heart. Oh, Yi Jian was a woman who had cleaned the anatomy rooms of medical schools and had more solid medical knowledge than the medical students. She knew perfectly about the structures of the human body. It was not deadly enough to stab a pair of scissors into a heart, they needed to be pulled out. Only after the scissors were pulled out could the blood in the heart atrium gush from the wounds like water from water cannons. No way could he be rescued. Not in this life. Blood sprayed on her face, and her hair dampened with blood. Yi Jian leaned against the desk as if she had survived hell. Eyes closed, she fumbled for the landline phone and dialed a string of numbers with her blood-covered fingers. As the call connected, Yi Jian heard the gentle voice from the other side. Before she died, Yi Jian's chest undulated lightly and she said softly, "Just you wait, Yi Ying." Chapter 2. Reborn. The Shuko village of Fujun town was a village stationed by an army unit in the depths of the mountains. During the midnights of these numerous days, the villagers of Shuko village could vaguely hear trucks rumbling, when the military trucks drove by the road before the entrance to the village. At 2 o'clock in the morning, the villagers were sound asleep, and they wouldn't get up when they heard the sounds. Even if somebody did wake up, they would not turn on the lights until the sounds were gone. As the village leader had said, if anyone broke the rules, the road subsidized and built by the country would be cut off. And those who had broken the rules would be imprisoned for life. Yi Jian had been awake for a long time. When the sounds of military trucks vanished, she overcame her headache and got up from her bed. As she turned on the flashlight, the rays shone on the wall with a calendar hanging on it. As it turned out, she was not dreaming. She could still open her eyes and see the sun tomorrow. As it turned out, instead of dying miserably, by the grace of her life, she was to grow through sufferings, and her destiny had arranged her to be reborn through ashes. Time ticked away. By 6 o'clock in the morning, smoke had already been spiraling out from the kitchen chimneys in Shuko village. Bathed in the morning sun, the mountain village was home to luxurious green trees and flowing streams. Outside the windows, swallows perched on cables, chirping merrily. Through the mist, the crystal-clean morning sun rays sprayed softly on the branches, on which the flowers bloomed vibrantly. Against the tender and green shoots, the flowers on the branches seemed even more delicate and lovely. Though she could once again witness the return of swallows and blossoming flowers in the warm spring, she was in a completely different situation now. After waking up during the night, Yi Jian slept no more. Looking at the girl talking relentlessly beside her bed, she squinted her pitch-black eyes subtly. The girl in front of Yi Jian had red lips and white teeth, and her black hair was braided and dropped neatly onto her shoulder. And her eyes were bright and watery. But her skin was a bit dark, with small freckles on both sides of her nose tip. As Yi Jian recalled, the girl had done a lot to dispose of these 2 minor flaws afterward. "This is Yi Ying, the source to all the sufferings in my past unpleasant life, where I also died miserably. Exams on Monday. Do remember to help me. And I have brought my school assignments, finish them for me quickly." Not only was Yi Ying good-looking, but her voice was pleasing to the ear like that of an oriole. It's just that her tone was so commanding, as if Yi Jian had owed her. Holding a quilt, Yi Jian curled her lips and smiled as Yi Ying finished her chirping. "Long time no see, Yi Ying. Long time no see, the 14-year-old Yi Ying. What? Long time no see. We met yesterday. Have you become a fool due to your fall?" With concern on her face, the 14-year-old Yi Ying looked at her cousin who was 6 months older than her and said, "You can't afford to be stupid. Life would be miserable for a simple-minded beauty. What about her homework if her witty and excellent cousin had broken her head?" Eyes squinting, Yi Jian smiled softly, and her smile was as crystal clear as a creek. "Won't you be the more pitiful one if I am broken? No one will help you with your homework. No one will give you answers in the exams to help you attain good rankings. Alas, come to think of it, why do I think you are more tragic? While she was admiring the changing facial expressions of Yi Ying, Yi Jian said, God bless me, to herself. As it turned out, it was such a guilty but delightful feeling to be a bully. How come she had never realized that before? She must cherish this feeling now that she was back to 14. Read latest chapters at Wuxia Site only. You really are broken. I don't need you to do my homework, all right. The pale-faced Yi Ying gritted her teeth and said discontentedly, for Yi Jian had read her mind. Yi Ying was trying to free herself from this embarrassing situation, but due to her young age and lack of proficiency, her facial expressions were a bit awkward. Looking at Yi Ying's facial expressions, Yi Jian felt very much alive, as if fresh blood had poured into her withering heart. As Yi Jian tilted her head and slightly restrained her facial expressions, she furrowed her exquisite eyebrows that needed no trimming. Instead of answering, she became silent. Chapter 3. Game on. As far as Yi Ying was concerned, Yi Jian should always apologize to her. She raised her chin slightly. Her facial expression suggested that she was waiting for Yi Jian's apology. Poor you, but you do need to do those things by yourself. That I cannot retort you, said Yi Jian resignedly with a gentle smile. Ignoring Yi Ying, whose face was distorted due to anger, she raised her hand to rub her head and asked Yi Ying to leave. Get out. I need to change clothes. Yi Jian, you're bullying me. Swoosh. Yi Ying stood up, and her watery eyes were filled with tears at once. Fragile as she may seem, her behaviors were absolutely wild. Bang, bang, she slammed the door and stormed out. Bully. As I have told you, just you wait, Yi Ying. While she was taking her time to get dressed, she heard Yi Ying's cries from the yard. She was pouring her grievances out to her mom. 1, 2, 3. As Yi Jian counted to 3, Sun Dongqing barged in with a bamboo stick in her hand and shouted with rage, You wicked girl. I let you live in my house for free, but you bully your younger sister. Son of a bitch, you are an ungrateful soul, aren't you? She rushed in front of Yi Jian. The bamboo stick was about to whip towards Yi Jian's face rather than her body. To what extent did she hate Yi Jian? She might even blind Yi Jian by lashing on her face. Before the bamboo stick could whip her face, Yi Jian dodged it. Back to 14 years old, she would not allow herself to get beaten up again. No one could beat her. No one. Yi Ying wants me, her elder sister, to do her assignments. I was just trying to persuade her to do them herself. And without saying thanks, you are going to hit me, aunt. Sun Dongqing was not only Yi Jian's mother's eldest sister, but the wife of her father's younger brother. The two sisters married into the same family, thus becoming sisters-in-law. Huh, how dare you dodge it? You didn't fall to your death yesterday, and now you know how to piss me off. Glaring at Yi Jian, Sun Dongqing rolled up her sleeves and waved the bamboo stick. Wicked girl, although your mother is gone, I still need to discipline you. What a disgraceful creature, seducing your teacher at such a young age. I should have thrown you out when you were carried home last night so that you won't lead my Yingying astray. Sun Dongqing had always been brutal to her sister's daughter. When they were at their parents' home, Sun Dongqing had been proud and arrogant, trying to outshine her sister at all costs. And now, all her sister had left behind was her only daughter. Shouldn't she discipline this girl? But her words had rendered a chill to Yi Jian's delicate and small face, as well as to her eyes. Seducing her teacher. It was not until she woke up last night and saw the calendar on the wall that she realized she had returned to the spring when she was 14 years old. The peach flowers of the school blossomed 1 month after the new term began. That year, when she was 14, she asked Yi Ying to go home with her after school. As she left school, she encountered Yi Ying, who was running towards her. Without any words, Yi Ying grabbed her and they ran together. After running dozens of meters, Yi Ying tripped her. As she fell, her forehead knocked against rocks, on which lichens were growing. And she passed out right away. At that time, it was already Sunday morning when she woke up, and she was involved in a scandal where she was rumored to have seduced her teacher. But now, she had woken up on Friday night. The 1 day and 2 nights in between were crucial to her entire life. Yi Jian put her hand into her pillow and touched the scissors she found last night. Targeting the scissors at Sun Dongqing, she said violently, I have not even had my first period, what do I know about seducing my teacher? Anyone who is out there blemishing my reputation will not get away with it. Chapter 4. Don't mess with me. Under the chilly glint of that sharp pair of scissors, Sun Dongqing stopped her dashing abruptly. She saw the mercilessness on Yi Jian's face, as well as the chill in her eyes. Somehow, Sun Dongqing's heart raced, and her arm that was raising the bamboo stick dropped suddenly. Aunt, this thing hasn't been investigated thoroughly, and if you dare say anything about it out there and give me a hard time, then I am not afraid to drag your whole family down with me. Yi Jian said coldly. Her pupils were very dark, even darker than the color of the night, but the expression in her eyes was so bright that they were resplendent like stars. As she was glaring, the expressions in her eyes were like aurora and experienced myriads of changes. Gorgeous as they were also intimidating. Wicked girl. Let's see for how long your conceit will last. Explain it yourself when your teachers are here. In front of the provoked Yi Jian, Sun Dongqing's heart throbbed and a thought occurred to her. Had Yingying lied? Sun Dongqing drove this thought out of her mind immediately. No way. Yingying has always been well behaved. It's impossible for her to lie. No, I have to ask Yingying about this. At the thought of the significance of this issue, Sun Dongqing threw away the bamboo stick and walked outside. It was not Yi Jian that she was concerned about. Yi Jian was not her daughter anyway, and her mother-in-law hated this granddaughter very much. However, for unknown reasons, Sun Dongqing was very anxious and felt that something bad was about to happen. Yi Jian watched her leave with indifference and smiled subtly. In the mirror, she examined her 14-year-old face carefully. Although her facial features were delicate with a tinge of innocence, her smile indicated that she had undergone great changes. As she concentrated her vision, the extremely bleak and chilly expressions condensed deep into her pupils. She raised her head and saw Sun Dongqing rushing to leave the courtyard. In no time, Sun Dongqing disappeared from her sight. Coldly, Yi Jian stopped looking at that direction. She found her comb and combed her jet black hair over and over again. Yi Ying. This time, just wait and see. In the old days, I made a mistake by conceding to you once, but now, I swear I will make your life like hell. Outside the house, Sun Dongqing ordered Yi Ying, who was snapping branches on the peach tree, to get down from the tree. Yi Ying pursed her lips discontentedly. Mom, you scared me. Reluctant to be tough to her daughter, Sun Dongqing whispered, about the issue you said when you came back yesterday, what exactly happened? What happened? As Yi Ying lowered her head, her nose tip touched her tender peach-like lips, thus concealing the slightly panicked expression in her eyes. How am I supposed to know? Come inside the house and talk to me. Sun Dongqing looked around and saw no one. She dragged her daughter into her bedroom to question her thoroughly. Yi Jian witnessed the tussle between them as they entered the house. With a gentle smile on her face, she walked out from the other side of Sun Dongqing's house and left. This was not her house. Her house was at the very end of the village and close to a bamboo forest. Every brick and tile of her house was laid down by her parents when they were alive. Her house was a paradise for her until she turned 4 years old. The front yard was filled with peach blossoms, and the rustling of bamboo leaves could be heard from the back of the house. As for herself, she would be sitting under the peach tree, hands rested on her cheeks, looking at her mother who was reading poems, and then when her eyelids became increasingly heavy, she would fall asleep. Her father, who had returned with the bamboo shoots that he dug up, would be beside them, peeling the bamboo shoots with a smile. Sometimes, he would smile and say, Jian is just like you. She likes reading, too. The happiness in paradise came to a halt when she was 4 years old. As Yi Jian saw villagers walking towards her, she quickly rubbed the corners of her eyes to clean her nostalgic tears. Before Yi Jian could greet the villagers who were busy farming in spring, they gathered around her and asked if she was well. Ah. Jian, you have woken up. Do you still have a headache? Although they were sincere and honest, they were unbelievably stubborn at the same time. Chapter 5. Soldiers appear. Facing the concerned villagers, Yi Jian raised her hand to cover her forehead, as if she was a bit embarrassed. My headache is gone. I was tripped by Yi Ying and accidentally fell. Perhaps I was too nervous about the examination at noon that I passed out. Look at you. Why are you nervous about exams? Yi Ying is so good at school, just ask her to give you answers during the examination, said the villagers jokingly. They felt great compassion for this orphan girl who was staying with her uncle's family. Currently, they were looking at her with kindness in their eyes, instead of judging her. Yi Jian pursed her lips gently. Pretending to be anxious, she lowered her head, curled her hair with her fingers and murmured, long before the exam was over, she had handed in the paper and left. I couldn't copy her answers even if I wanted to. I dared not hand in mine until the bell rang. Her words made the villagers burst into laughter. What an honest girl Jian was. What they did not know was, Yi Jian was behaving in this way to prepare for the things that would be happening subsequently. Aunties and uncles, I'm going back to my home. I'll see you around. Yi Jian thanked them politely. With a gentle smile on her delicate and small face, she said, I haven't returned home in ages. I'm planning to clean my house. It was not until then that the villagers realized that she was going back to her home at the very end to the village. Grandpa Jian should be at your house. He has kept a dog, so do remember to inform him before you enter the house. Of course, Yi Jian still remembered that dog. At that time, when she was wronged, she ran back to her house, crying. A big, black dog barked and rushed out from the house. If it was not Grandpa Jian who had appeared in time, Haga would definitely have bitten her. Later, as Grandpa Jian had told her, His black dog was no ordinary dog but a juvenile Tibetan Mastiff. Across layers of peach blossom, Jian saw her home hiding deep inside the sea of flowers. It was the same house from her memory. The green and black bricks, as well as the pure white walls, still looked as new as before. This was the time when peach flowers were blooming. The gentle spring breeze was stroking her face, and the flower petals were flying in the air. After walking out of the forest of peach blossoms, Jian returned to her home. Grandpa Jian, Grandpa General. A few steps before Jian walked out from the forest, she had raised her voice and yelled. Haga was a Tibetan Mastiff. She yelled in advance to avoid repeating the episodes in her past life. Before hearing any response from anyone, she had trotted out the forest of peach flowers. Jian halted her steps as she saw 4 unknown men eating noodles while sitting on the ground. She nodded gently and asked calmly, "Is Grandpa Jian here?" She glanced at them, and then subtly lowered her sight. She saw that someone had secretly and swiftly put down an object that was placed on the wooden table. It was a gun. As she lowered her head and looked again, she saw that 4 men were wearing boots that civilians wouldn't. Those were military boots. Their sitting positions were textbook-like. Their backs were upright straight, just like poplars. Besides, they had the crew-cut hairstyle, which was mandatory in the army. These 4 men were soldiers. They were sitting before her own house. Judging from their smiles, it seemed like they were having a relaxed conversation. They were a bit surprised at her appearance. With an apron, which had turned white after being washed too many times, wrapped around his waist, Grandpa Jian smiled and said, "Here comes the Lao Tan pickled cabbage. I know you guys." "Oh, Jian." She was a girl from this village. The 4 men stood up quickly. One good-looking man, perhaps the leader of the 4 of them, said with brisk laughter, "Girl, don't be scared, we are not bad people." Of course, she knew that they were not bad guys. Besides, what sort of villains had she not encountered? Scared, she had never been daunted by anyone.